Hey, everybody, it's us, those yearbook people. How are you guys, those yearbook people?
We're doing great.
Good. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
All
Let's start with Danielle Finch, our producer. Hi, Danielle
Yes.
Finch.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going great here in Florida, nice and sunny.
Oh, I can't relate at all. Dreary and rainy and gray and sad in Kansas City today.
no.
Oh, I'm so
Wah-wah.
sorry.
It's all right.
And then we'll go to our buddy in Tampa, Sabrina BBB. Be right back.
Buddy. Yeah.
Big banner buddy.
Big banner buddy.
Yeah.
Come see us in the booth. We'll explain that in a second.
How are you in Tampa?
So grand. It's Friday. What can
Yeah.
go wrong?
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
That's right.
It's great. It's the end of the
it's
week.
Friday in March, Sabrina.
So I survived the week, so it's a big success. We're all still
There you
here.
go.
I know
And-
all you advisors out there can relate. Like you get it. We're all in the same boat.
Oh, I put that on Facebook last night about advisors, and they're getting ready for their spring book. And
I
you should
laughed
see.
so hard. The responses were cracking me up. I'm like, at least we're all in it together, right? We're all
That's right.
We're all
That's right.
feeling it in the same boat. Yep.
Exactly.
Final deadline time. We're almost
That's
there, guys.
right.
You can
And
feel the end
Jimmy.
is near.
That's right. Jimmy, how are you doing in Sacramento, California?
Doing great. The big rainstorm, snowmageddon that we had up in the mountains is over, and the sun's coming out today. It's only going to be in the 60s, not like Florida, but
I'll take
it's great out.
60s.
Yeah, 60
Great out here.
sounds beautiful.
Well, our podcast today is kind of cool because we are entering convention season.
Yes.
CSPA is coming up and NSPA, JEA is coming up. All the state organizations are either happening or they're coming up in April. So we thought we would talk to all of you guys today about what it's like and how to plan and all the things that can go right and wrong about going to a convention. And we've all been to state conventions and national conventions, and we've all had experiences with it. My first thing is your state orgs. I grew up and taught school in Florida. I've been to the Texas State Org. I've been to the Colorado State Org. I think those are probably three of the biggest: Florida, Texas, Colorado, Kansas, big, Missouri, big. The state orgs. Who else have I been to? I've been to Atlanta State Org. And anyway, those you should be going.
Doesn't require you to get on a plane. It just requires you to get to your state organization. A lot easier, I guess, travel-wise
Yes.
to get to those. And it's local. You're going to see all the people that
Your
are down the
friends.
street from you and are dealing with probably the same laws and rules and things like that. So a little bit easier
Texas
to get there.
has two.
Yes,
Texas
they
has
do.
two.
Yeah.
It's so
They're
big.
And the two big national conventions, I'm sure there are others, but the two that I basically know are Columbia Scholastic Press, which is happening the week.
Coming
It
right
usually
up.
always happens St. Patrick's week.
Yep,
This
that's
year
right.
it's kind of weird because St. Patrick's Day falls after it, but it usually happens St. Patrick's week. Why? It's on a college campus, and B, they're on spring break. And then NSPA and JEA do their convention together. They have one in the fall, usually around the beginning of November, all the way up to the weekend before Thanksgiving. And it's on the East Coast or east of the Mississippi. Things have changed because hotel cities are changing. And they usually do one in the spring, close to spring break, Easter, etc. And it's west of the Mississippi. Not this year. It is west of the Mississippi. It's on the No, it's not. It's west of the Missouri. It's in Kansas City, Missouri. And I see on their maps of future organization or convention dates that some of that's going to be changing a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
So, and we've been to them. We're going to talk about them.
Yes.
So I hope that helps you all in what conventions to look for. So how do you look for it? Go to jea.org and your state will be listed there. Or just look for FSPA, ILPC, THAE, or Colorado Press or Kansas Press. You'll find it.
Or I will tell you, if you go to the new advisor field guide that is on our website and on our yearbook help website, the new advisor field guide has a list of all the state organizations there for you in the new advisor field guide. So ask your rep for that, hunt that thing down, you'll find it in there. And your rep could also help you find that state organization if you're not sure where to start. So
there you go.
Use those resources, guys.
So let me ask a question first. What was your first convention, your first journalism convention you either went to as a student or took kids to? What was your first one, Mike?
Probably FSPA as a high school student.
Mm-hmm.
I was a student in Pinellas County and I was on the newspaper staff, as we learned in other podcast. I was a failure. But it was in, I think it was in Tampa or St. Pete at the time. It wasn't what it was when I took kids. FSPA, you had to go to your region before you could go to the state. So my region was Tampa, St. Pete, and it was the biggest region other than Fort Lauderdale, I think. And so I went to that. It was a one-day workshop. Easy as pie to go to.
I think the first convention, I was just trying to think that while Mike was talking, I think the first one I went to was CSPA in New York. The first year we won a crown. Yeah, the first year we won a crown award. We went and it was a blast. Like, one, it's New York, so like you can't go wrong. But like taking kids to that convention was entertaining. It was good times. We did get a lot out of it. But I do remember just the idea of when you're traveling with kids like that. I know that in today's day and age can be a little bit of a daunting experience, but you do have so much fun and there's so many benefits to the students and the staff going to these conventions, bonding with each other, having these experiences that tie them together. I do remember when we were at CSPA, they were announcing the Crown Awards, and our staff was the Stampede. So we were in the T's, not the S's. Okay, so you have to know that if your publication starts with the, you're going to be in the T's when they're announcing it. And my little angels didn't know that, and I had one very loud child that when it got to the S's, she heard Stampede, not our staff. And that staff wasn't at the convention. So she heard Stampede and the place is dead quiet. And she's like, wow, like she's yelling, screaming. Not us, like not our book, not our program. It was the most awkward thing I've ever been to in my life. And we still talk about it. She was a yearbook advisor herself when she got out of college. But like, those are like the things that like, that was probably 15 years ago. I still remember that clear as day. They're just like fun things that happen that can only happen from going to conventions like that.
Didn't you go to the one with the Wright brothers?
Yeah, the very first one 100 years ago. No,
scribbling on tablets.
The first one I went to was, believe it or not, 1985. It was a Northern California convention. And what I remember most is that I got to meet John Cutzinger. It was like the greatest thing ever. And then he wrote me a postcard.
Wow.
I thought, wow, I've arrived. So then I thought, let's go to another one. So we went to the first national one we went to was Tucson Trails, Tucson, Arizona, in the spring of 1986. Yes, I am old, Mike. And we had the best time. Those kids now that went to that, we still talk about the goat roping on Saturday night in old Tucson. It's like legendary. And these people, they have their PhDs, they're, great businessmen and women, and they still remember they're great.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about one other experience. We want to talk about great experiences we've had at conventions. My last conventions with kids was in Los Angeles. And let's go up and let's look at Griffith Park and the observatory and all that stuff. And then I said, oh, see that over there? It's the Hollywood sign. let's go to the Hollywood sign. I had no idea how to get there.
You can't get there.
I'm leading them. We're climbing literally over mountains, sliding down hills, and we made it to the Hollywood sign.
Oh, you
and
did?
It was like, yes. And it was like we bonded because the whole editorial group had made the trek to the Hollywood sign.
So
we knew if we could get to the Hollywood sign, we could make a yearbook.
Yeah.
When is JEA going to be in LA again? Because you're taking me. I have tried to do that a million times.
That year, those yearbook people make a hike. We take a hike into the Hollywood Hills.
We're going to have a new podcast, Danielle. It's those yearbook people on foot.
And I'll take you there. I found out the easy way to go. Going over the hill and dale was not the way to go. But the point here is, why are conventions so important? Conventions were like one of my number one things that made my program successful, because here we go. First of all, we always went to the spring one. I kind of went off and on to the fall one because it got expensive there after a while.
Right.
But I knew if the students who could figure out how to get the money and how to get everything organized, they were potential leaders for the next year.
Yes.
So really, if in Kansas City, if we were still going, the 2025 book would really start in Kansas City Convention.
Yes.
Because you'd find out who you could trust, you'd find out who the leaders were, you'd get a whole bunch of great ideas that would be a springboard to the next year. So, I mean, literally, and Mike, get ready to tee up the old joke. We went to that first spring convention at Tucson in 1986.
In the first spring.
And I have not missed a spring convention since.
Wow.
And it's part of the fabric of my life, and it made a huge difference in my program. So
and California schools are hard to get to the spring convention, even if it is in California, because their spring break is so late.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it is good, like you said, like you do see the leaders come out, like who are the kids that are in classes, taking notes, getting ideas, like coming out excited, coming out of a workshop class and going, oh my gosh, I just got this great idea, or this is something we have to do in next year's book. And it doesn't just have to be like design or writing. It could be how we organize our staff. What are things that we do? Yeah. As far as like workflow goes, so there's a lot of good ideas that come from not you telling them those things, but them going out to hear other people speak about this stuff. And not only that, but just sheer exposure to how big this world really is. And I think that's the thing that blew my mind when I started bringing kids to conventions is it is so much bigger than what we do in our little yearbook classroom, right? There's so many ideas, so much greatness happening out there that the more those kids were exposed to what was possible, the more they were like driven when we were back in our classrooms to do great things. And when it gets down to this time of year where we're just like wired and tired from finishing these final deadlines, they're still motivated because they want that level of greatness that they've seen at conventions.
But advisors need to be prepared because leaders of two different kinds will come out at those conventions. I taught TV, newspaper, and yearbook, and my TV kids were wild, and they were usually boys, and they were usually wild. I had to be very careful with who I took to conventions.
Oh, right. Yes.
So you just need to have meetings with parents. You need to put your foot down. Your administration needs to get involved. And I know I've skipped over into another area, but you don't want to just put them on a bus and go.
Well, and I want to come back to the idea of the sessions and how important the good sessions are. There were like 5 or 10 sessions that I wanted my kids to see every year.
Yes.
There are some presenters that are just so amazing. Yeah. And we would gather. I always remember these times. It would be like, Thursday night, we'd get together in a hotel room and we'd have the program and a highlighter. Yes. And I would say, okay, first hour, here's these 3 you want to consider going to.
Mhm.
This one, you don't want to miss it. If you're a new staffer, you gotta see this. If you're an editor, you got to go to this one. So there was a lot that I was able to do coaching the kids to get the best educational experience. So, I mean, really, we got to be honest, it's fun, the bonding, but it's a great educational experience
Mhm.
where they get new ideas that we don't have. I mean, it's
Right.
just amazing when you get around you guys. I'd send my kids to your sessions. What they can learn that then they bring into the program. It's not you doing it. So,
Right.
And how many
different
times?
voices. They're hearing from
That's
different
right.
people that have different experiences, different ideas, different programs. And I love that you said that, Jim, because we used to do the same thing. Have a plan. Like when you're going in, don't just send kids out into the convention and go, best of luck, hope you go to a session. Like, have a plan.
They're
Go
going
through
to
that
Starbucks.
Yeah, they are. They're going to go sit at Starbucks. Have a plan of, making sure that they're taking notes or what classes that they're going
That's
to,
right.
so that they can also all get a lot of different pieces of information to then bring back to your staff. And I've even seen some advisors from when we teach where I've had people come up and say, hey, I have
Yes.
to take a selfie with you to show my advisor that
Yeah.
I was in your
Yeah.
session. I'm like, what a great way to just keep a little tab on them, making sure that they're actually going to classes and utilizing the
Post that.
experience for
Post
what
that
it is.
selfie.
Yes,
Post
I
it.
love it.
I mean,
I love
we
doing stuff like
developed.
that.
I developed a 1-page sheet with lines where I'd have kids take notes, and then they would have to show me the notes that they took.
They
Yes.
carried their tablet in.
And
they
chip
put-
away at it. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
nowadays you get QR codes, Jim, that you can.
Oh,
yeah.
that's how it is. Okay, I got
oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, but
But-
anything you can do to create some accountability too as well.
Right.
Some advisors, they would have you sign their kids' programs,
Mhm.
and then some of those same advisors, for you going through it, they would send you notes and thank you for their session.
Yes, I
So
love
it
that.
really makes a big difference.
And how many times have you guys heard they hear the same thing from me that you just said, but they're listening to you? I mean,
Yes.
it's
Right.
another person.
Yes,
Right.
it's
telling
another
them that.
person. And honestly, it is about the fun. Like we all could probably sit here for hours and tell hilarious convention stories of things that have happened while we're
Yes, we
traveling with
could.
kids. Lots of them. And the kids do get a lot out of it as well. But as an
Mhm.
advisor, there's a lot there for you too. Like just as much as the kids need to get exposed to what other students are doing and other work and other advisors, it's nice at a convention where you can actually network as an advisor and meet other advisors and meet other reps that work with your company and
Right.
really get a different perspective on how other programs function. Like, and we all know, like, this is not, you're on your campus, you're like an island unto yourself. You're the only one doing this job. Conventions are a great place for you to see that you are not the only person doing your job. There's a lot of other people that are also probably struggling with the same things you're struggling with, or maybe they have mastered the thing that you struggle with, and then you can help each other out. So there's
That's right.
a lot of benefits for you as the advisor to go there and meet and greet other advisors that become lifelong friends, right, guys? Like people that
That's
you,
right.
yes,
That's right.
that you meet at
100%.
conventions, they become your buddies.
All of us.
Yes.
I mean, I take pictures with Sarah Nichols and Margaret Soros and so many people. They make your day because you find out they're doing the exact same thing or going through the
Mhm.
exact
Yes.
same thing as you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And they have the same love of kids. They have the same love of
Mhm.
journalism that
Mhm.
you do, and it just encourages you that you're doing something that's meaningful.
It
Because
lights
you
your
can.
fire.
And
Mhm.
I had so like H.L. Hall, for example. He was older than I was, and he had
Mhm.
children older than mine, and you just saw how he was balancing his home and work life, and that was always super encouraging to me to know that
Mhm.
you could make all this work. So
And a lot of these, oh, sorry, Jim.
and I just looked forward to those people who I admired, getting
Mhm.
to spend time with them and picking their brains and getting to know them as people.
Yeah.
So, and I
and
still look forward to that.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, like, even when I remember that first CSPA convention that we went to, I remember sitting in a Bobby Hawthorne writing class
Mhm.
and just
Yeah, of
going
course.
like, oh my gosh,
Wow,
my
that's
eyes
right.
are so open now.
That's
Like,
right.
as like, this
Yep.
is so much deeper than I thought it could be. And And a lot of these speakers, like if you go up and ask them afterwards, like, hey, can I reach out to you with some additional questions? Or do you have any resources that you'd be willing to share? Or can you point me in the right direction for something on this? A lot of these, like we do this all the time. We're here to help. Like if they're teaching at a convention, they want to help you as an advisor. So that's a great opportunity there too, to be able to talk to some of those speakers, get their ideas, get more information or resources that you can put in your back pocket for when you go back to your classroom.
Yeah. I remember going to SIPA, the Southern Interscholastic Press Association still has a convention. And oh gosh, it was probably in the early 90s, because that's when I started teaching. And who do I meet? Lori Oglesby, and who is one of my very best friends to this day, Lori Oglesby. And people like Lori will share resources. Right. People like you and I guess me, we will share. We do. You ask us, we've got it. Lori, my kids came back from one of her sessions. They said, you got to go see this lady. She was standing on a chair. And then she ran the SIPA auction, the SIPA auction, and oh my gosh, I wanted to buy everything. And if you ever go to a one where she's selling jams, buy her jams. Sorry, but I just love it. The networking is phenomenal, but your company is Walsworth is at all those conventions. Don't you guys agree? I mean, we are. We're packing up this weekend to go to CSPA.
That's right. That's right. And that's another part of it too. Like at all of these conventions, there's like that vendor trade show area, and Walsworth has a booth there. And it's also a great chant, the best one. That's for sure. We might be a little biased, but I don't think we're being biased. Like I think we have the best one.
And you know what? Walsworth people, we don't change our name. We are still Walsworth. Look for the company with the most important name.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sabrina.
Not Wadsworth, Walsworth. No. It's important to distinguish. But you also meet, like, yes, you have your rep. Your rep is your resource for sure. But like, there's a whole Walsworth family of reps that's hanging out there. Our area managers, our Trip Walsworth is going to be at our JEA booth in Kansas City this spring. We've got our whole little Walsworth fam is there. What a great way to meet other people in other parts of the country, not even necessarily advisors, but other reps. And I love that. Like a lot of my advisors know other reps in other parts of the country because they come to conventions, they hang out at our booth, they get to know each other. We all could use as many resources as possible, right? Like as many connections as we can get.
And you can sign up in the booth for a 20 to 30 minute conference with Mike, with Sabrina, with Jim, with even Susan Massey. And you can bring some of the stuff you're thinking about for 2025. You can show us the book. I love seeing some of the books as they come in about what they did in 2024. So sign up for an appointment with us. We just love to chat. And basically all of us here at Walsworth, we want to support you and make your job easier and make you love it as much as we have. So come on in, say hi. Come to our
make a bracelet, make a friendship bracelet. Yeah.
We have fun in our booth. It's fun. We do have we got the spinny little 360 thing, camera. Like there's always fun stuff happening. It's a party. Come hang out, meet some people, take some sample books. Like we've got sample books there for you to peruse, take pictures of spreads and get some ideas there too.
I think it's question time with Danielle.
I do too. Yes, it is.
Yay! So we have a Walsworth advisors group that you as advisors can go in, you can ask questions, and we answer them here on the podcast. So one of the first questions that we have here relates specifically to conventions. It says, how do you get your administrators to be on board with traveling with your students?
Invite your administration to come with you. It makes all the difference in the world. So CSPA is a great one to invite your principal to. I remember taking my principal at least twice to CSPA, and literally one of the most moving moments in my career was when we went to Ellis Island and we found the place where her father had come into Ellis Island from Italy.
Wow.
And I got to share that with
That's
my
cool.
kids. It was really, really cool. But then she could see instantly what the value of these conventions were. And I really never had any problem when I really went in, and I know it's getting harder and harder to get approval, especially to go out of state. But once they see it, they'll send you every time, because it's such a great educational experience.
And plan early to go out of state, because your school board probably has to get involved in it. And they have a million stupid rules, but they have rules. And they have reasons for those rules. But get involved. I always laugh at Britt Taylor. He'll call me the week before a big out-of-state conference, and he'll say, "Oh, I forgot to involve the school board, so we're coming incognito." I don't know where Britt Taylor teaches, so I'm not going to say that out loud.
But it's true. Like, even if you talk to your admin and show them the program so they can see how many classes and speakers there are and what kind of instruction they get, or you could even talk to other people in your state or in your area that have taken kids to those national conventions and have them like write a letter explaining what that experience, how powerful that experience was and how important that was, and give that to your admin so that they know, like, this is not something I'm just wanting to do to go on vacation. Like, this is important, like there's a method to the madness here, and it's going to help you build that program. And anytime you're building that yearbook program, that's always going to be good for the school. That book goes out to everybody in the community. So why would you not want that program to be as big and excellent and winning awards even as it can be?
That's right.
That's a benefit to that admin too.
Question number 2, Danielle.
All right. The last question is, what are the best ways to fundraise for travel?
So what did you guys do? What did you guys do?
We didn't really ever do any. Now, this is just like the program that I had.
You were rich.
Well, no, but like we didn't fundraise to go on trips, but I did sometimes have them, like, if they wanted to offset their cost of their trip, they could sell additional ad volume. So if they were selling more ads, then I would put that money towards their trip. I also was a big proponent, like, I never paid fully out of the yearbook funds for any student to go, because I also wanted them to have a vested interest in what they were doing, not just like a free trip and anybody can go. Like, if you are willing to earn the money to go on this trip, then that makes me think that you're the kid that I should be taking on this trip, I agree. So I would, and there's ways to do it. Like, sometimes I'd pay for, like, they would pay for the registration fee, I would pay for like the hotel or the flight, so we would find different ways to split that up so it wasn't all on them or all on the yearbook. But so I would just do stuff like that to just balance it up and make sure they have a vested interest in going.
And that goes back to finding who your leaders are. If they can hustle up the money, raise some, then they're really bought into next year's book. So
for sure.
I did basically what you did. Extra ad revenue was they could put that toward part of their convention funds. For sure.
Absolutely.
But I like selling pineapples better.
And
I know. I was gonna say that sounds way more fun. I was like, I would love to be in a classroom filled with poinsettias and pineapples. Like, it sounds fantastic.
Not the same here. Not the same.
Not the same.
No. But I'm telling you what, I paid for the transportation. Now, it was to Atlanta JEA, and I paid for the entire bus with those pineapples. So we drove. Hey, our next podcast is going to be about going to workshops. Everybody, and that includes Elite Weekend. That includes all of our summer camps. We
Advisor Academy.
Advisor Academy, which, by the way, you don't have to go to anymore. It's cyber. It's all cyber. You don't have to raise a lot of money for that. $150. That's it for that one. And your school should pay for that. But I think that's a very important podcast, because everybody needs to go to workshops or at least Elite Weekend.
Absolutely.
Yep. Conventions are good for, getting ideas. Workshops are good for putting those ideas into action and starting to get some work done. So
these two go together like that. They go together like that.
They do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anything else from you guys?
No, just have a good time at the
Go,
convention this next
yes,
week.
go get them, advisors. Finish those deadlines and go have fun at conventions.
Books.
Yes.
Black and white cookies, Levain Bakery, Little Italy, pizza by the slice. Go and have fun, but be careful. All right. You guys have fun, everybody, this weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to That Yearbook podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on your preferred platform. Happy yearbooking!